Hi guys, welcome to your channel Ray of Hope, and this is going to be another session based on subdomain takeover vulnerability. Right here, I'm gonna cover in detail about subdomain takeover. Basically, I would be covering in depth of how to exploit this vulnerability, how to identify this, and how to mitigate it. Okay, so I have been saying one thing quite often. Uh, when I talk about subdomain takeover or any other vulnerability, the most important factor that we need to know is why this vulnerability exists actually, and why do we need to exploit it, right? I'm gonna cover two or three parts of it. Where there, basically, what is subdomain, how this subdomain takeover exists, what are the prerequisites to identify this vulnerability, if subdomain takeover exists or not. Basically, how to identify this. Apart from that, where, like if you are working in a corporate, or you are a full-time bug bounty hunter, what are the chances that you can come across this vulnerability called subdomain takeover? Again, when you are doing a normal BAPT, where there you get a single domain, right? Probably you may not be able to identify this vulnerability. In one domain you cannot. But suppose you come across a scenario where there you are doing external PT or bug bounty, where there you have a wildcard entry. So when you have a wildcard entry, you can basically target any domain related to your client, related to the domain you're working on. And that is where this subdomain takeover vulnerability comes in action. Now, so, what is subdomain? Subdomain takeover is a process of registering a non-existing domain to gain control over another domain. Basically, this happens when the subdomain has a CNAME in the domain name system, which is DNS, but no host is providing content for it. This can happen because either the virtual host hasn't been published yet, or virtual host has been removed or expired. An attacker can take over the subdomain by providing their own virtual host and then hosting their own content for it. Okay, so definitely I'm gonna come across the scenario. First, I will complete the theoretical part, where there I will walk you through with this. Once we are done with this, we will go by two route. One, by manual digging into this, you all know the dig command, right? And by automating without even a need of Kali Linux, right? Now, so I just talk about CNAME and DNS. So what basically CNAME is? Suppose when a user access a domains like KPMG or Facebook.com, or so, what they do actually, it DNS check its record. Once you do Facebook.com, it website goes and it checks the DNS record. If Facebook.com or CNAME, then DNS sees that it is a alias for another domain. For example, cdn.cloudflare.net. DNS then uses that CDN or cloudflare.net to get the real IP address and sends that IP back to the browser. Again, do not go by cdn.cloudflare or KPMG or any other domain. This is a hypothetical scenario. I'm taking it as an example. Suppose I can say here there is a facebook.com. Facebook.com is a cname, okay, and then DNS sees it as a lies for another domain. Then for example, like godaddy, godaddy.net, or it could be anything. Then that DNS will use that specific CNAME to get the real IP for that specific website. So that you sometimes you call it as a proxy as well. Some like the users, right, to route the traffic. Okay, so that is where this vulnerability, again, it is just a definition that what this DNS, because we know DNS just convert into A4 record like IP actually, that's what it does, right? But let us consider a scenario, right? How subdomain takeover takes place actually. Considering you created a company called Rayofhope and you hosted some applications like hackme.rayofhope.com, or you are pawn.rayofhope.com. So basically you have two subdomains for the domain which is rayofhope.com. And hackme.rayofhope.com basically uses a CNAME record to another domain, example Cloudflare inc, or godaddy.net or inc, or any other proxy you can consider. So at some point of time, cloudflare.inc will expire and is available for registration by anyone. Basically, these services are not permanently, right? These are not permanent. So it will get it will get expire. Since the CNAME record is not deleted, means once it get expired, so the CNAME record related to hackme.rayofhope.com must be deleted. So if it is not deleted from rayofhope.com DNS zone, so anyone who can register cloudflare.inc will have full control over hack.rayofhope.com until the DNS record is present. So this is how subdomain takeover takes place actually. For a real example, you might have heard it. We all know that US President Donald Trump in 2017, a hacker took control over secure2donaldtrump.com. Why? Because they basically did not follow the best practice. They did not resolve, they did not remove the DNS post expire, or like if it was not in use actually. And result of that, attacker take over this domain and starting like no like domain was legitimate, and they started like a lot of things can be happen over here: phishing attack, cookie theft, a lot of attack, and that has a lot of consequences. Basically, in the name of you, I can show anything without even get caught. And who will be blamed for that? You, because you were not taking care of your own domains, right? Now, how we gonna mitigate it? So in order to mitigate it, most important factor which is discussed is regularly audit your DNS records, remove CNAMEs immediately, validate control over all subdomains target. Select your vendors wisely, like what vendors you are going to choose. Your TX record, text record, every records matters. close the attack vectors, and incorporate the threat modeling. Basically, when I'm talking about the threat modeling, it's the best practice for the consequences if someone take over your subdomains. But the most important factor that you can do, if you are regularly auditing your DNS record and removing, dealing like a dangling C names, your subdomain will not be takeover, right? Now, I believe your theoretical concept must be clear. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and show you practically that how exactly this happen in real time and what are the chances that you can practice, right? So we have one like again, you can use sub finder in your Kali to enumerate all the subdomains related to your target domains, or you can just go ahead and search sub finder over the internet. Well, this is one of the like I usually prefer to gather the subdomain from here. But if you configure your API key properly in your subfinder, you may get some more subdomains, right? And well, there are multiple domains, so I would not get into this because sometimes we may come across thousands of domains. So I'm not going to look into that, right? Now, so basically you can go ahead. Consider I want to target what we say, google.com, google.com, right? And just start scan. Okay. You can see I get a lot of domain, a lot. I can't even count how much domain getting over here. Well, I got all the like now how I'm gonna copy this. It's easy though. Just copy over here. So once I copy this, I have another tools. I told you I can perform sub takeover even without Kali. There's no need of. So I'll just search HTTP status IO. Yeah, this one I mostly use. Why? It has lot of advantage actually. So first thing I'm gonna need basically page 1 second, because it is indeed having a lot of domains. Okay, we have this many domains. It is lot of domains, and here basically you can only use 200 domains if I'm not wrong. So what I'm gonna do, I'll just do this, copy it till here, cut it and paste it and check status code. I'm gonna give you one tip at last that will give you a hints you would never forget. Okay, so what status code I'm gonna target? Basically 404. Why 404? Let's access this website. Okay, so basically the requested URL was not found this on the server, which is a sandbox. Let's see android.clients.google.com. I'm not getting anything, right? Now what I would do, I copy this command, Control X. Now go to my terminal. I'll use dig. Hit enter. Hmm. We have seen him Android. Okay. Now it is not vulnerable. Now again, you might have got one questions. Why did I just say that it is not vulnerable? Because when I'm saying when I'm talking about that it is not vulnerable, why? Now see, from here you got the subdomains. Why 4 and 4? Because this is the blank status code, right? And it has most chances that you can find subdomain takeover. Once you find this, probably you can open. Sometimes once you open, you may get sometimes a pop-up that domain is not owned by, domain is not in like is not it's not behind something. So or you are not getting any response, right? So now you can process with subdomain takeover. How? Basically, you can just go ahead and do a dig command. Guys, there are only three conditions. Trust me, only three conditions. We have a record, we have a record, we have a 4 record, and we have C name record, right? So there are only three conditions. In first condition, which we have is the first condition which we have is a record. So if when you do dig actually and you have a record, forget, you cannot perform subdomain takeover there over there. Second condition, if a record and cname record is not available but a 4 record is available, still you cannot perform subdomain takeover. Third condition, if a record and cname record both are available, still you cannot perform subdomain takeover. Fourth condition, if a record, I mean like a4 record and cname record both are available, you cannot perform subdomain takeover. Fifth condition, all three are available, still you cannot perform subdomain takeover. At last, we have one condition, which is CNAME record. Only if CNAME is available, only if CNAME is available and a record and a4 record, those records are not available, but CNAME is available, that is your luck to get the critical vulnerability. And suppose if it is redirecting to Cloudflare, CloudFront, GoDaddy, or any other proxy services or sub domain hosting actually, you can go ahead, register the website there, like register that domain there, and you are done. You got the subdomain takeover, right? If you have any questions, you can ask me in the comment. I would be happy to help you with that. Thank you for watching.